Thanks, Edwin. Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are audible. I can confirm that.
Fantastic. So it's great to see you. I see very many familiar names. For those of you who don't know me, or we are meeting for the first time, my name is Njehia. I see past students, current students online. So it's always a pleasure. My name is Njehia, as Edwin mentioned, and I am the director and co-founder of an organization known as Tieranjanni Africa. At Tieranjanni Africa, we're a boutique sustainable tourism consultancy operating out of Nairobi. We are based in Nairobi, but have different projects across Africa. We're a fairly new baby in the tourism sector. However, before I worked as a tourism consultant. I think now I can say my career has been stemming for 17 years. I think that's a long time, Edwin. Some people are probably still in school. I see Edwin smiling. But yeah, so it's always good to see tourism progressing. It's always good to see there being an impact from tourism, because that is why we run as an organization as Ecotourism Kenya. We want to create change, and it has to be impactful change, because we believe in the cause of developing our communities through tourism. And this is one of the reasons why we started Tieranjanni Africa. So I'm glad that we are getting to interact again and discuss. This is not even more of a training. I want it to be more of a discussion. Every time I'm probably talking through the presentation, I want you to ask yourself specific questions regarding your business, yeah? Because each one of us here runs a different business. I see others are tour operators, others are Cbtes. I know Mike sells unique, Mike Kunzuki sells very unique slippers. He told me they can go, 10,000 plus? I see him smiling, but yes. So everyone has different ventures, but all geared towards, the betterment of our communities. So allow me to switch off my video so that we can start on the presentation. Yeah, I know someone had texted me before and said, which countries do you operate in? Because you're saying over 10 African countries. So in the short period we've been running, this is our 4th year. We have projects in East, West, and Central Africa. So we are talking about the Gambia, we're talking about Sierra Leone, we're talking about East Africa. I know some of you we've engaged through EAC programs, so there's a lot, yeah? So engage with us. Edwin can share our contacts later. If you even have any questions, you can always just reach out and we'll see how we can help each other, yeah? We're all working towards a common goal. I've always said that. So it is by that spirit of togetherness, that spirit of Harambee, of coming together, that we actually create that development. So ecotourism, thank you very much for having this week, because I believe it's a game changer in tourism. And also it gives prominence to community-based tourism, which we've been discussing for a very, very long time. So quickly allow me to switch off my video for better bandwidth, and then I can project the screens. Edwin, I think you need to enable me to share the screen. It hasn't come automatic.
Okay, let me do that.
Kindly give me the heads up. I think I still can't share.
I'll give you a heads up. Kindly just wait kidogo.
All right.
It's okay now. You can share.
All right, let me try.
We can see it now.
All right. Just a minute. So anyway, as we continue with the tech, just fixing this so we can start. I always find it very interesting because people say, I'm not a marketer, or marketing is not my thing. Yeah, but you realize each one of us are always marketing one way or the other. Yeah. Edwin, are my screens moving? I'm not
Your
sure.
screen, we are on the slide, the first slide.
Can you see the second one? Not yet.
Try to go to the second slide and we can be able to note whether, yes, it's moving now.
Okay, hold on. I think it's a bit slow. Let me just try that again.
We can see it.
You can see the screen now.
Yes.
And it's moving?
Try to move it. It's not moving. We have lost the screen again.
Just a minute.
We can see it.
Okay. In case it just hangs, let me know and then I can just stop share and restart to share. I think
Okay, no
sometimes
problem.
that happens with the from current slides. There we go. So today we'll be having a discussion on unlocking secrets to market your products and services effectively. And why we talk about effectively is that we find every time we are trying to market tourism products, people are busy thinking it's just about posting on social media, or it's probably about being visible, putting up ads. But sometimes we need to take a breather and just look at the inner or the background of why you're wanting to move your products. Yeah, there needs to be something that is driving that marketing, because when we talk about responsible and sustainable marketing, it's beyond just moving a commodity. It's thinking of the value chain. It's thinking of the impact all the way to the impact of what your product will be. So Edwin, I'm not sure if you can see my slide too, but the points we'll cover today, we'll be looking at responsible marketing, understanding what it is and how it fits into our businesses. We'll also be understanding consumer behavior, then further moving into, looking at sustainable marketing, because again, responsible marketing and sustainable marketing are also different. They're related, but they're also two different things. Yeah. And then we'll also look at effective strategies for marketing, CBTOs or CBTs, and also how to stay ahead of the competition, because sometimes you have to work smart, not even sometimes, throughout. Yeah. So Edwin, can you see my slides?
Yes, I can see your slides, but the first one, yeah, it hasn't moved. So
okay, so I think let's do this. When I do that, you can see what is there.
yes, I can see now. This,
okay.
This one, I think it's the third one.
Yes, I think the challenge comes in when I blow up the full screen, so you'll bear with us. I think let me just do it in this mode.
Yes.
Other than the full mode, yeah?
Sure.
We apologize for the tech challenges that we're having. So going back to what I was saying, so marketing is defined as the activity set of, is defined as an activity, a set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and societies at large. Yeah. So marketing means how do you have commodities, you have products, you have services. How do you move this to the market for them to buy it? But because our agenda is based on community development, yeah, how do we ensure that even when we are marketing, we are communicating our values? How do we ensure we are communicating what we believe in? Yeah, because what we find often is that, and I've said this in many trainings for the guys who are on call and have attended my trainings before, there are times we throw products to clients through social media. You know, if you're selling, for example, your hotel, and you're forever throwing package, cost, and people think, okay, it's okay, but it's too much. Yeah. So when you talk about community-based, then we need to talk about, have a holistic angle on what we are putting forth. So when we talk about responsible marketing, this is what the term responsible marketing refers to: ethical and sustainable practices that companies and organizations adopt in their marketing strategies and activities. It also involves promoting products and services in a way that respects the needs and rights of consumers, while also considering the broader impact on society, the environment, and various stakeholders. Further, responsible marketing goes beyond just increasing sales and profits. It emphasizes on long-term relationship with customers through building trust, transparency, and social responsibility. And this is what I mean when I'm saying it goes beyond just promoting your package. Marketing that is responsible goes beyond making that sale. It's the impact of that sale. Yeah, it is the impact of your communication. It is the impact that the community will feel or will engage in. It also is your identity. Yeah, so you realize it's not just about selling. Yeah, I've sold Kenya. Kenya is a beautiful land. Yeah, it's about linking. It's about linkage. Yeah, you talk about maybe, let me give the example of my Kunzuki. I know he works with the communities. They take recycled tires. They make the slippers. So marketing should incorporate that story when you talk about responsible marketing. Yeah. So in a wider context, for example, yeah, for destinations, when we talk about responsible marketing, we start to say, as the person who is marketing, if I am a destination seller or I'm a tour operator on call, and I know the impact of selling or overselling, say a destination like Masai Mara, yeah, the question is, when you start to build your marketing plan, should you contribute, you know, because you want to make a sale, so let me push it, knowing very well that sending more numbers than the capacity, than the ecosystem can hold, yeah, the capacity of the ecosystem of the Mara will negatively impact the market. Yeah, so that's just an example. So we are saying when you're designing that marketing campaign, you should be asking yourself, what is the impact? Yeah, so it goes beyond just increasing sales. And this is what makes responsible marketing different from every other marketing that you know. Yeah. Look at the messages we also put on social media, and we'll discuss this later when we're looking at the strategies. How does it ensure that there's that transparency, social responsibility? Yeah. We have to consider that when we sell this product, this will be the impact. So when we look at the principles of responsible marketing, because we are responsible people promoting sustainable tourism, number one is transparency, being open and honest about the product or service being offered, its features, pricing, and any potential limitations or risks. Avoid misleading or deceptive information is very crucial. Yeah. Don't overpromise. I know we are moving out of a period where everybody now is hungry to make that sale because we're in, a post-COVID era. And for the first time, the country, especially just going beyond even Kenya, I know we have some colleagues from the East African countries on call. We are all hungry to make that sale right now, but let us not mislead people. Yeah, you don't want to overpromise and it's not the truth. A client asks you, my purpose for coming here is to see a leopard. When I come to your community lodge, will I see a leopard? And you promise them. And then your tour driver is there struggling to find a leopard because the client is insisting, ni lazima nione leopard, So be transparent, be honest, give that variation of yes, you could, and yes, you could not. But if you know it can, yeah, then convince the client. Don't give them, Cbtes. And this is an example I think we've discussed before with the guys we've had these trainings before. Somebody comes to you, you're doing crafts, and they want 20 pieces of the curios you're selling, and you only have 10, and you tell them, but by tomorrow I'll have those 20, and it is impossible. Yeah, so be honest. You want to stretch out and say, we can sell 10, but we can give you 10 others later at this period, and even explain the process. Yeah. So again, another principle is customer privacy. Respecting and protecting customer data and privacy rights, especially in the age of digital marketing and data collection. Now, this is what I find very annoying about marketers. You buy something, you fill in your details, and without anyone asking you anything, your WhatsApp is blowing offer. You didn't get my permission to send me things. And why did you take my data and start sending me your newsletters? Yeah, we should be respectful of customer data, or even start sharing this customer said, and you're tagging them without even asking them. You're tagging them on social handles or using them as an example on your newsletters. Engage. Yeah, respect. That word respect is very important. Yeah, privacy rights. Number 3, another principle of responsible marketing is social and environmental impact, considering the social and environmental implications of product and marketing campaigns. Avoid practices that may harm individuals, communities, or the planet. These ones, we discuss them every time. You have tour guides who are going or who are off-roading. These are things that should be avoided. Yeah, so you also want to communicate those to your guests, so that you consider that, so that while they're consuming your product, they're also considering the implications. Yeah, remember what we said, when you're selling and you're promoting, consider the impact. Then again, another principle of responsible marketing is targeting and advertising, where you ensure that marketing efforts are directed at an appropriate audience, avoiding tactics that exploit vulnerable groups, particularly children and marginalized communities. I don't know how many of you have ever seen when you're trying to get sources, resource mobilization for your products or activities within the communities. And then you go using children's faces. I remember when we were younger, there's that child, you know, I'm sure most of you have seen where would be on posters or milk sachets saying, you know, hunger in this area. We have to be very sensitive. Yeah. We have to avoid, because yes, we want to get donor funds to develop our project. We now go plastering people's faces and from that community to just gain that sympathy. So again, we have to be very tactical. We have to be careful not to be crafty, especially you know, when it involves these vulnerable groups, children, marginalized communities, etc. Moving further into the principle, we have to look at inclusivity and diversity, embracing diversity in marketing, messages, imagery, and representation, promoting inclusivity and avoiding stereotypes. Now, allow me to say this, it's very sensitive, but I have to say it, yeah. Safari has always been viewed as a product for the Western world. But in recent years, we've been trying to promote tourism for the local African people, okay? But I find it interesting when we are saying, you know, one thing, and then on our poster, we have another, yeah? We are saying we are open to the weekend for the locals to come and enjoy nyama choma, etc. at your lodge. But then again, you have a Western face on the image. Yeah. And you'll note that even if you move beyond tourism, look at commodities such as beauty products. Nowadays, you see when they're selling beauty products, they'll have African faces on there to sell to the African people. Yeah. So tourism has been criticized for us westernizing it too much. It's not bad because it is our core business, but we have to be conscious, yeah, to ensure that there is that inclusivity, yeah. Whether be it race, be it gender, we have to show that we are considering, we are not stereotyping anyone, okay? Then again, another principle is responsible sourcing, ensuring that the sourcing and production of products are conducted responsibly, including fair labor practices, environmentally friendly processes. This is where I say, you know, nowadays there's also, I'm sure you guys are familiar with greenwashing. If you're not familiar with what greenwashing is, please raise your hand and we'll have this conversation when we have the Q&A, yeah, before we break for the first hour. But now there's also a new one I've noticed, what I call local washing. Everyone goes like, this is local. This one is made from here. And we very well know ni ya kutoka China. You know, you go like, all our local giveaways, all our giveaways are locally made. Sa hizo key holder will import kutoka China. Whereas you could just get somebody here locally, make those key holders that you're gifting to your clients. And you'll say, no, but you know, it is cheaper there. But because you bought them there, came here and printed the African map or the Kenyan map with your logo, then you say they are locally made. Yeah. So I find the newest kind of washing is local washing, especially in tourism and the produce sector, yeah, where everybody's like, it's locally made. But in real sense, I think we have to be very careful in when we are promoting. So we need to also look at, remember we said responsible tourism responsible marketing is going beyond just selling. So in that circle of beyond, you also have to look at the sourcing of your products or your production or what you're using to promote. Yeah. If we are talking about people selling the CBTs who are selling commodities, yeah, has the branding been done locally? You know, has the packaging been done locally? Is it responsible packaging, for example? Yeah, or are we just buying plastic paper, then sealing it and saying, you know, this is the best we could get, or it was the cheapest option. And we've not given priority or even thought of something else we could use. One of my colleagues always gives this example where in a Cbte she was working in Southeast Asia, where people were saying, how can you be authentic? We have to serve food in, local, international cutlery, because in tourism, that is what is expected. And in the long term, their solution was actually serving on banana leaves, and it was authentic. And that became a serious attraction for that particular lodge. So again, it's just thinking, even in your lodge, the things you're selling, or because you're selling the lodge and you're promoting it, is your honey from the local community, or are you going miles and miles? Maybe you're based in Laikipia and you're going all the way to Nairobi to source for honey. Surely there must be someone locally there who you can source from. Yeah. Then moving forward, another principle of responsible marketing is community engagement, engaging with local communities and considering their needs and concerns when marketing products and services in specific regions. I believe this is quite key because we are also now talking about community-based. Yeah. So when you're promoting your services, your lodge, your product, that element of community should be what is sealing your product, what you're moving there, your service. Yeah, we should be able to see it authentically without having been told, in your community, let it come out naturally. Yeah. And this can be done naturally through, things such as storytelling. When you're posting your promotions, let someone local give their experience, or let them explain what it is to be a local living in a place where we attract communities, we attract tourists rather, or let them speak on the impact of buyers purchasing your product. What does that do for the community? Yeah, so that we see it is real. You're not just telling us near community, but in real sense, you're just making a killing of the community. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't like to talk about it, but we know it happens. Yeah, again, compliance and regulations. You have to adhere to all relevant marketing laws and regulations to avoid legal issues and protect consumers. Again, ethical advertising and promotion, using advertising that is tasteful, respectful, and does not manipulate emotions and exploit insecurities. Have you ever been approached by someone trying to get funding, and then you feel like, woishe, ningewapea tu? Yeah. We have to be careful that when you're marketing your product, because it's community-based, you're not doing the woishe. Then you're almost making people feel, let me just buy from them. We have to be very sincere. So I find it's a very thin line, yeah, that separates us. And I want to say us because we have community at the heart of our operations. Yeah, it's a very thin line that separates us and the rest of the marketing. Marketing can even be negative. You've seen somebody trend for something negative, And then all of a sudden, everything they post, people like it. And that's a form of marketing. We've seen that in our country, yeah. We've seen that globally, yeah. So we have to be very careful. Again, like we're saying here, it has to be tasteful, it has to be respectful. I find this when it comes to the topic or tourism that engages community, the key word should always be respectful, yeah. So when we are thinking of, now we understand what these principles are, then you ask yourself, in selling, who are you selling to? Because one of the key things of you being able to close a sale is understanding your consumer. And I find this is where we go wrong, because in tourism, we always have perceptions of who we want to sell. Mi nauzianga wazungu wa kutoka UK. No, my clientele is the local market, which is middle class and upper end. No, I want to export my produce. And nikifanya woishe, they will come and buy because it is for women who, we need to understand consumer behavior for us to be able to sell. This is what I've always said. When I used to do active sale, even now I still do marketing in terms of Tieranjanni, yeah, but our marketing is different because it's, consultancy and development is very different from selling tangible products, yeah. But when I used to sell tangible products, how I would easily communicate with a potential customer is by first psychoanalyzing and understanding them, knowing what is their pain point, knowing what would be of their interest, because then you're able to communicate. Now, where we go wrong a lot is sending out marketing material and posting and doing, booklets and printing things and sharing and assuming that that is what people want to see. Wakiniona sana watanunua kutoka kwangu, but responsible tourism, and later we'll move now further beyond responsible and start talking about sustainable marketing. Responsible tourism, going back to my point, is about building relationships. So you need to be able to understand who is your consumer. Yeah. So we need to understand consumer behavior. So consumer behavior is the study of consumers and the processes they use to choose, use, and dispose products and services, including consumers' emotional, mental, and behavioral responses. Now, one fact, let me throw it out there, consumer behavior. Post-COVID, we saw tourists who used to come a lot into Africa first start going into Europe. Why? Because they trusted they'll be safer there. Now they're slowly starting to come back here. Yeah, so you can see there's that mental response that we need to understand. What is it they will be looking at? Yeah. Consumer behavior incorporates ideas from several sciences. So consumer behavior is, word of mouth, what they've had will influence how they behave or even influence if they buy. Yeah. Consumers will search online, and then that behavior, what they hear others saying on TripAdvisor, this person does not respond on time. It's by the time the driver came for us, we had been waiting at the airport for 2 hours or something like that. Once they read that, already they form an opinion about you. And by the way, consumer behavior can also be influenced by not finding anything at all. Can you imagine? I have been referred to Nancy, let me use you. I see my colleague Nancy is on call. Nancy is a tours and travel company. Yeah? So Nancy Tours and Travel, I've been told, we went with them and they were very good at the holiday they organized for us. Then I go online and I search and there is nothing. There is no Facebook page. There is no Instagram. There is nothing. Ata Google, ata kitumbaya, hakuna. Do you really think I will be able to trust and go with Nancy Tours and Travel? No, I was not. Yeah, it's the same thing even with community-based products. Yeah, I find most communities say, "Oh, we don't have the capability of doing this," and I usually challenge them and I say, "Putting up a social media page doesn't cost you; it's free. Even if you cannot do a website, at least be able to be found on social media, be found somewhere. It is good to be found somewhere because it proves that, this product you're selling to me is worthwhile. Yeah. And another one is also, feedback from people who have tasted your product. Encourage guests to give feedback because that is how you get also referrals. So why is it important to understand consumer behavior when you're going to market? Number one, by understanding consumer behavior, marketers can tailor their communication and messaging to resonate to their target audience. If my target audience is families, then I will cater my messaging on family-based products. Yeah. So if my lodge has a child-friendly area, for example, where kids can play or you engage in activities that maybe, for example, the bows and arrows that kids can partake in. You want to use that communication. Yeah. You are able to build that effective communication so that they see, oh, okay, that is how you reach your client. Yeah. So this ensures that the marketing efforts are relevant, engaging, and are more likely to capture the consumer's attention. Remember, in marketing, whoever captures your attention is more likely to purchase or benefit from it. But if the service they test or the product they test is good and lives to what it has, the promises made from the marketing, then they will do what? They will either buy again or they will recommend, they'll give a good review. Yeah. So effective communication captures consumers' attention. Think of when you walk into supermarkets and you have people doing their promotions. If you get someone there standing and they don't welcome you, and I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I walked into a shop and there are 4 attendants, a shoe shop, 4 attendants, and nobody smiles at me, says hi, nothing. They watch me walk in, walk around the shop, and they're just quiet looking at me. You know what I did? I walked out and never bought. Went to the next shop, walked in, the people were friendly, they were smiling. Can we help you? Are you looking for something for an event? I felt at home. I was convinced to buy. It went beyond the budget I had, but I was convinced to buy out of that communication. But you could see they had understood me by asking me, what the shoe you want to buy, is it for this event? Is it for that occasion? What is it for? What is the purpose? Yeah. So they understood my needs as a consumer. So again, why is it important to understand consumer behavior? Because it helps you develop your products. Knowing what customers want and need allows companies to develop products and services that align with their preference. This increases the chances of creating successful offerings that fulfill customer demands, leading to higher sales and customer satisfaction. People will not buy a product they don't want to use. You've seen companies, big companies, introduce a product, then after a while it disappears. I hope there's no one from Coca-Cola here with their, I should not be quoted, but last year I saw them introducing a Fanta that was blue. And they had guests. I don't know if you guys saw that, big question marks in the supermarket. And people were buying. I know this because my kids were buying that blue Fanta. But now I don't see it on the counters. And something tells me they were testing the market. Are we ready for that commodity? Yeah. Then they know, are people purchasing it or not? Then is it something that will be able to move off the shelves? Now, I know there are guys here on call who sell curios, yeah, from the enterprises, the community enterprises. Why is it we don't design anything different? I'll move from this shop to the next shop to the next shop. Zote ziko na elephant, lion. Where is the creativity? Yeah. I've always said we have so many communities in Kenya. All of us nowadays purporting to be pushing for community-based products, but all of it looks the same. Yeah. I remember once I challenged a hotel at the coast where I went, and during dinner, I had Maasai dancers. And I was like, I know Kenya is known for the Maasai, but huku hakuna Wagiria mama, people who can show me the local culture. Yeah. So I feel understanding your consumer behavior then leads to you knowing how to develop your product so that when they see it, you're not forcing it on them. They actually buy it. Yeah, they're interested in buying that product. Again, understanding consumer behavior allows you to segment and target. Consumer behavior insight helps marketers segment the market based on the various factors like demographics, psychographics, and buying behavior. This enables targeted marketing campaigns, reaching the right people with the right message, and also at the right time, rather than one size fits all approach. Remember what I was saying before, when we all post our offers on Facebook, 2 nights package, 3 nights package. I'm selling these curios, but zote ni same. Yeah, you need to be able to target. Say I'm specifically designing this package for the youth. The youth is what bracket, or even you say you're going for the millennials. So what do the millennials do? What are they interested in doing? How can your product appeal to them so that when you're crafting that message, or even when you're engaging with them, be it on email, be it on one-to-one, for example, you're in a stand, yeah, at an exhibition and you're doing a stand, how do you engage? You should be able to see that with different psychographics, different demographics, there is a way you should engage for them to purchase. Yeah. Again, consumer behavior is important in marketing because it gives you a competitive advantage. In a competitive market, understanding consumer behavior can give you a competitive edge. By identifying gaps in the market or unmet needs, businesses can create unique value propositions that set them apart from competitors. Now, maybe here, this is my bragging factor, Edwin. When we were starting Tieranjanni Africa, I remember one of the key things that my colleague and I were thinking is, how do we develop tourism in Africa that is different from everyone else? Everybody talks about sustainability, and we were like, yeah, but there are so many people training on sustainable tourism. So it's not about that. It's about what will make us different. And I remember us listing down what would separate us. In one way or the other, as I reflect, I think listing those things that sets us apart can now be linked into the market share of development in tourism development, in that we can see our strengths lie now mainly within East Africa, West Africa, and Central Africa. Yeah, but it's because we had to list what is our advantage. Yeah, as Angela, for 17 years, what have I known? I've known tourism in East Africa, at the back of my mind. So that becomes an advantage. But how do I use it? Yeah, so that is what I want you to ask right now in your business. What is your advantage? What makes you better than the rest? What makes you different? What separates you from the next door? For guys selling products, What makes you different from the others? If you're in conservation, your conservancy, what makes you different from the rest? You know, because I find this is one thing that most of us don't know. Identify our unique value propositions. What is that sets us apart? Because when you're able to clearly communicate what sets you apart, then it's very easy for people to buy or for you to close a sale. Supposing we are in a room, yeah, let's say we were doing this training physical, and I walked in with a glass and I had a black liquid in it. What do you think the liquid would be? I bet 80% of guys on this call have already thought of Coca-Cola. Yeah, because it's a reality. Coke has really said, Coca-Cola has set themselves apart. So I could be drinking a Pepsi, but majority will think it's Coca-Cola. Yeah, it's the same way we've always said as Kenyans when we were younger. Instead of kusema ninunulie soda, tulikuwa tunasema ninunulie nini? Coke. So these guys of these specific products already created that unique value proposition for themselves. So in your tourism business, in your enterprise, in your Cbte, what is that sets you apart? Because if you can identify that, then it's very easy for you to tap into the market. But if you're moving as a general, nini tu operator, kwa hivyo, there are many others, This is what I've always said. You need something that really makes you stand out. Again, pricing strategy. Pricing strategies, when you understand consumer behavior, you're able to determine your price. Yeah. You look at, and pricing strategies is another whole topic altogether. And we've done trainings with EK before on pricing strategies, because knowing the right price to sell your product is influenced by you understanding your consumer. And this plays a role in your marketing. Yeah, because remember, price is part of the marketing mix. Product, place, promotion, price, the 4 P's of marketing. Yeah, so it's very important to understand your consumer, because if you're saying you're selling to your target market is high end, yeah, then you'll be able to set a price where you're not losing, you're making a profit, and it resonates with the higher price. I remember I once tried to lower a price for a commodity, and because my clientele had been mid and luxury, the luxury buyers were asking, shida ni nini? What is wrong with this product? Why is it so cheap? You see? Again, understanding consumer behavior is likely to give you brand loyalty and customer retention. Remember my Coke example. Satisfied customers are more likely to become loyal to a brand. Have you ever seen how, and the ladies on this call know what I mean, other brands of oil for children have come into place, but all of us just go like Vaseline, because that is the product that was introduced to us. So we became loyal to the brand. So regardless of all these others removing their petroleum jelly, you'll always stick to the one you know. So understanding consumer behavior allows marketers to build strong relationship with customers, offer personalized experiences, and create loyalty programs that encourage repeat business. Yeah. So when you know your customer, because you're serving them, the plate you're giving them, kama ni chakula, umewapatia kenye wanapenda. So they will be able to come back for more or even refer others to you to get that same thing. So you create that brand loyalty. Again, understanding consumer behaviors allows you, to adapt to trends, see how things are changing. I always like to use examples that are valid. Now, the other day I was asking Nancy, do we say, are we tweeting or are we Xing? because you can't tell clients, tweet me any, what is it? Tag us on our Twitter. Is it tag us on our X? So you have to adapt to the trends. Yeah. Again, improving customer satisfaction. A deep understanding of consumer behavior allows businesses to address customer pains, like we said before, and provide better customer service. If you don't know what your client wants, how do you market to them? How do you develop products for them? And if you give them what they want, like we've been saying all along, then what happens? You create a foundation for customer satisfaction. And satisfied customers means healthy business for you. Yeah, because of those referrals we are talking about. And then also, in understanding consumer behavior, it is important that you measure. Consumer behavior data can be used to measure the effectiveness of marketing campaigns, analyzing how consumers respond to various marketing efforts, help marketers optimize their strategies for better results, especially if you're using online channels, websites, social media. You can get this data, read it, analyze it, and see what is happening. Trends. People, you've put up an ad. Who looked at the ad? What was their interaction angle? Yeah. What was the feedback that you got? Yeah. So when we look at factors that influence consumer behavior, number one is personal factors and individuals' interests. Number two is psychological factors. An individual's response to a marketing message will depend on their perceptions and attitudes. Number three, social and cultural factors, family, friends, education level, social media, cultural. I tell you, if I visit one of your properties now and I post on my social media, I always get questions. Uko ni wapi? Kunakaa aje? Wanalipisha aje? So those are factors that will influence consumer behavior and whether they purchase or they don't purchase. So we have to be aware of this in our marketing campaigns. Again, obviously, economic factors, and this is why I said it's important to know your consumer so you give them the right price. Remember when we were looking at pricing strategies just shortly before. Now, in understanding a consumer decision journey, before they decide to buy what you're giving them, you've put up a post. Number one is awareness. Remember, we said you must be visible. You have to be seen. Then after they're aware about your product, they start to consider, should I buy? How much is it? What will be the impact? What is the benefit of me buying this product? Then again, they buy. After they buy, after the purchase, it's the experience. And then how did they feel? The services that you said, did you live up to them? Yeah, or not? Yeah. And then after experience, then you move into advocacy. Now the advocacy stage is where they go right on TripAdvisor, how your product was excellent, how it was the best, etc. Yeah. So you need to consider, even when you're posting your post on Facebook, what is the impact? Because sometimes I go and browse, a lot of my following is tourism services, products, agents, tour operators. And I look at my social handle and I'm like, kawaida. We need to move away from that. Yeah, we need to capture people's attention. So quickly before we move into our second half, I know we're almost about to go for a break. What are the old truths versus new truths about marketing? What has changed? What is there and what is not? So an old truth is that marketing begins with knowing your customer, which we have dealt with. Yeah, that is the truth. But the new truth is that marketing begins with knowing your customer segment. You remember I said you need to know who is going to purchase those slippers that you've decorated with Masai beads in your Cbte, yeah, in your shop. Because once you know that, then you know what kind of patterns do they like. Then you're able to resonate to them. An old truth is you're competing with your competitors. A new truth is that you're competing with the last best experience your customer had. Now, this is a truth that most people think your competitors know the next tour operator or the next CBTO or the next enterprise. No, it is where your customer last purchased. So if we are talking about a visit to a community lodge, I'll be comparing it with my last visit, my last experience, the best I ever had. So I'll be saying, lakini kwa kina nani, when we went here, their food was fresh. And you remember even that honey, it was being sourced locally. And they told us their vegetables, they have a local garden there. Awa wanatoa yao sijui, from that grocery shop in the city. So that becomes your new competitor. We used to think our competitors are the people selling the products that we are selling. But now we are hearing the new truth is that you're competing with your last best experience. An old truth is that customers hope you have what they want. When I'm coming to you, I'm hoping that this person has what I want. But a new truth is customers expect you to have exactly what they want. We've had people say, hii si value for money. Niliambiwa niende huku lakini hii pesa tungeenda kule kwingine, we could have spent less and still gotten a better experience. Another old truth is that courting customers is like dating. No, mpaka ubembeleze mtu, umfurahishe, umpatie kama ua. Do you know that is the work we do in marketing? Marketing is like dating, kufurahisha watu. Umwambie leo nywele yako ni nzuri, hiyo cutex iko na kala mzuri. It is guys, you go like, that is a very good watch, those shoes are very good. That is the old truth, It's like dating. But the new truth is that courting customers is just like online dating. Si wewe peke yako. There are very many others online. You're not the only one giving the flowers. There's someone receiving flowers from 10 different people. And I'm talking about the tour operators. Think when you're sending your inquiries and you go like, I've responded within the hour. There's somebody who responded within 15 minutes and they were 10. Yeah. So the customer has now a bigger plate on a sinia kubwa. Si wewe peke yako. So when you're there thinking, but I have been the oldest in the game, I've been here for a long time, things are changing. So you need to catch up and make sure you're ahead of the game. So remember, now we are not just dating and giving someone flowers and telling them, I'll wait for you in town at this stage. Make sure you're there by 10. There is WhatsApp, there is AI. So you need to keep up. Again, customers must sit at the heart of your marketing strategy. This is an old truth. You see, customers must sit at the heart of your marketing. Now, a new truth is that customers must sit at the heart of your customer journey. Allow me to show you that journey again. So when this is that decision journey. Awareness is where they're getting that marketing, where they're searching for you. Then they start to consider, then they purchase. So all this whole journey, you need to be considering what? Impact. Like we said, remember, we are looking at things from a holistic angle. We are no longer looking at things from, I've made a sale, I am sustainably certified. IKEA has given me the eco rating and I am okay. No, you have to go beyond that, okay? Again, relationship matters. That's an old truth. But in the new truth of marketing, we're being told relationships with your consumers are everything. Yani, ukikasirisha mtu, they have the power to not just go alone and never come back to you, but they have the power to deny you future sales. How? They just need to go and post on social media. Yeah. Let me use this example because it's a personal one and I shared it with Zuku. internet providers. For the longest time, I've been, for many years, been a loyal client to Zoom. But when they go down, wanakwambia mpaka simu yao imeenda nini, and all I need to do is go on, Nancy, it's not tweeting, it's Xing. I need to go to my X platform. Because nowadays we are not saying on your Twitter. And you realize, oh, we're already downtime before they send you a text to tell you they are down. You see, now, then you call me later on to say, oh, we were down, but we have restored. But you see, that relationship is already broken. That trust, I shouldn't have had to hear from online that you are down. The moment you realize you are down, the first thing you do is what? Take care of that relationship. Send me a text and say, we are down. Yeah. So this is something I always used to tell them. I hope nowadays they are changing. Anyway, agility is a technology process, but in the new truth, agility is a modern marketing approach. Yeah. Mindset, consumer sentiments. Again, an old truth is that your brand should stand behind greater products. The new truth is that your brand should stand behind great values. It's no longer about your product or, I've been standing for 20 years. It's about the value, impact. What is your impact? Yeah, you need the right tech to drive modern marketing success. That's an old truth. Yeah, but a new truth is that you need the right balance of factors to drive modern marketing success. While Facebook might be for everyone, it may not be for you. If you do not know who your demographics are, then why are you there? I always joke around and I say, me, I'm not on, what is this platform called? TikTok. Yeah, I don't know how many people my age are on TikTok, but when I see the younger generation, I see my nephews and nieces there, TikTok. But if you're selling school packages, then you need to be there so you can appeal to them, create content that will appeal to them. Yeah. Again, marketing is important for growth. This is an old truth. But a new truth is that marketing is at the center of the growth agenda. Post-COVID, marketing was elevated as a driver of digital transformation. So if you're talking about transforming how you market your products, your brand, how we see you, that relationship we are talking about, then marketing should be at the center of the growth agenda. This should be your heart. You should be operating from this sustainable marketing. So with that, I think I'll bring in Edwin for our first break so that I can take a glass of water. Edwin?
Angela, thank you for that wonderful and insightful presentation. We want now to proceed to the Q&A session before we take a break. So I invite all the participants who have any question or need any clarification on something to be able to either post on the chat or just raise up your hand, and then I'll give you the opportunity to be able to ask a question. So is there any person who has a question? Feel free to ask any question. So as you have been taken through, you have really understood what is marketing, the concept of sustainable marketing, that you're not just marketing, but you need to do it responsibly and in a sustainable way. And Angela, what really caught my attention was the value proposition part, that you need to really understand what sets you apart from others, and then be able to communicate that to people so that you can be able to stand out than the rest. I have some few people who want to ask question. Jonathan, kindly go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Jonathan from Mombasa. We do bike tours. So my question will be: is it right to say that the use of poster is the most convenient way to do marketing in social media? Is it right to say so? The use of poster, because and then again, you should also know that not everyone, making those posters, they're also costly. But what if you don't have anyone within your team that is able to make those posters to do the marketing? But then again, my question is it wise to say that use of poster is the most convenient way to do marketing in social media platforms? Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Angela, I don't know whether you will answer that before we proceed to the next person.
Okay.
Or you want to take the questions first?
Yes, I was going to suggest, can we take the questions first in case they're the same, and then.
Okay. Then we have another person as well, Tandeta. You can ask your question kindly.
Okay, thank you so much for that nice presentation, and I can relate it to yesterday's presentation. So I'm looking at the aspect of authenticity, where we are saying produce local so that people can buy local. So my question is related to the issue of authenticity, because then as of now, we're talking of globalization, where a lot of our local goods, they are now, polluted, if I can say, and in some cases, we don't have those people who can produce that authentic local good. How can we make sure that such aspects continue sustainably, and we can have those people, the locals, who can still produce those local produce, especially for the tourists? How can we make sure that we enhance that aspect of continuity in as far as the local products are concerned? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Is there any other person who has a question? Kindly raise up your hand, or you can post it within the chat. Feel free.
All right, so maybe Edwin, I can take the two questions.
Yes, kindly.
All right, so when we talk about poster and social media, I want to imagine you're probably talking about the e-posters. But if you're not, this is what I've always said. Digital is the easiest form to use for anybody who does not have a bigger market budget, okay? Especially for CBTs. Why do I say this? It's not a must you use a poster. Remember we spoke about social, social engagements. For example, when you have people going on the bike cycle tours that you spoke about, why not record with your phone the experience and post that on social media? In the spirit of being authentic, yeah, you want to put a poster, but you could also just put a video or somebody giving the experience on the tour that you had, yeah? So you see, you can use your phone, record, get someone to say something 1 to 2 minutes, and you have a video that you can share, yeah? So I don't specifically think it's a must to use posters, especially if it is going out of your way. However, also, if it is online nowadays, there are different tools. And I think, Edwin, we can share tools, free tools that people can use. For example, even building on Canva. Yeah, you don't have to go for the paid offer, but you can use that to design your own posters. Yeah, and it doesn't need to be somebody who is graphically trained. Yeah, you just need to know how to move on the platform, and then you're able to create it. But I also think, because our core is community, that is what we are discussing this whole week, then you want to make it as real as possible. Yeah, get testaments from your guests when they experience. Ask them, how is the food? Let them give their opinion. Yeah, and use those to promote. And remember what I said, seek their authorization. Just don't go posting about them without engaging with them. But the best for me, I always think right now, when you don't have a big marketing budget, is social media. All you need to do is make sure you have strategized on the content that you're creating and have a plan. Yeah, I know even in Tieranjanni, we don't just post at leo to post to Eke. We agree. This month we are focusing on, for example, plastic waste. This month we are focusing on community development. This month we are focusing on conservation. So then you now create content within that sphere. Yeah, so it makes, and again, with creating content, there's one thing I've seen: consistency. Yeah, so I didn't get the name of the first person who asked the question, but just going back to that again, even in social media, if you create consistency, then you start to build a following for people who are interested. So I think use of poster could be effective, again, depending on your clientele. I don't know, you do cycle tours for who? Maybe that's one thing you need to identify. Is it the local market? Is it the international market? Okay, fine, it's the local market. Then you move further and ask yourself, what are the age groups? Yeah, it's between this age and this age. Where can I reach them the most? Maybe I'll find them on Instagram. So then you'll realize then your Instagram post needs to attract that clientele from there. So it for everyone, it's different. There are people, posters will be their thing. There are others, videos will be their thing. And this is why we discuss consumer behavior, understanding our consumers. Because once you understand who your consumer is, then you're able to craft the correct message for them. Yeah, remember we said from now henceforth, we are not going to just be posting anything and putting it out there. We have to go deeper and understand who our consumers are. Point number 2 on aspect of authenticity. I agree with you. Globalization has changed how things are. Just this week, we were discussing in a class that I take on culture, and we are saying, what has globalization done to the African culture, purporting it towards tourism? You know, and one thing that is emerging is that you'll realize urban centers have lost most of that cultural effect that we used to have in terms of attracting. And I want to say traditional culture, yeah, not modern day culture, because that is also something different. Remember, for example, in Nairobi, there was the debate of matatus having the, you know, the graphics. Edwin, you know what I mean, yeah? And that now is being seen as a local contemporary art, which is a new emerging culture, yeah? Where the youth are expressing themselves using that art. So this is my point on authenticity. Number 1, when it comes to community-based tourism, I strongly advocate for apprenticeship. There are people who used to design maybe the gourds. You know how some break them into 2 so that you use it to take porridge, for example. Can we have apprenticeship, that being taught to the younger generation? Yeah, because when the older people go, then this is where we now start to get people importing gourds split into 2, because there's no one anymore to do it. Yeah. So because our products are specifically built on communities, I think there is an opportunity for us to design apprenticeship within the communities. Yeah. So whether it is through beadwork that is being done, whether it is the local food, we need to ensure that these cultures grow. But that is one of the best ways to ensure that it is being passed on. However, what happens when you don't have those commodities now? Then we have to seek deeper. We have to research, how can we make them available, probably even at a cheaper way of us finding. Remember the example I gave you about the Asian community that used leaves to serve food? They also had that where they were saying, people expect us to serve them food in cutlery. So how do you tell us to? And we were like, but if you're being authentic, how did you people used to serve food? And they realized we used to serve it on the banana leaves. And when that started to pick up, it became their unique point. Yeah. So I think each one of us now needs to search and say, whether I'm a tour operator, I'm an enterprise, how can I, get that one thing that makes me different. However, in the meantime, yes, you can take maybe local, you can buy and then try to make it modern. But I still think if you really, really, really want to be real, you just have to find something. I see the hand is up again, Edwin. Maybe.
Yes, can I?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. Yes, speaking of apprenticeship, because this is more of community-centered tourism, I think also, I don't know if it's possible or if it's feasible to ensure that, firstly, the communities who are the producers of the knowledge, the producers of the products, they should be in a position to understand the benefits of whatever that they have, especially economically, because I read this other paper where they were saying communities in some parts of the world were saying, we don't eat heritage, we don't eat culture.
Mhm.
So they need to understand the financial benefits of those practices, if we can say of practices, of those commodities, so that at least they will be encouraged to keep those traditions going. So the question now is, how can we strike a balance? Because number one, as an operator, you want also to make profits, but at the same time, you don't want to exploit the communities who are the producers of the commodities, the producers of the knowledge. How can that balance be, how can the balance be strived to ensure that there is a win-win situation?
I think this is where, and I say this because I worked as an operator in my previous life, in my career, where we failed because tourism developed without considering that which made us start in the beginning. Do you see what I mean? We moved on to commercialize and forgot about conservation and preservation. Yeah. And you can see in post-COVID, if you see the activities that UNESCO, for example, is doing, or even UNWTO, they're talking about fast mapping out our cultural products, mapping out heritage, mapping out. Because what we did is we moved fast to move the products, but didn't consider how we will keep them lasting. And you'll see, even in the second half now, I will be talking about sustainable marketing. Yeah. But now you'll note that even beyond sustainable, we are talking about regenerative, so that we start to engage tourists to liking local. Yeah, because the new tourists wants to be engaged. Yeah, these are the trends. The new tourists want to come and cook and eat a local meal, not just to be served and be told, you know, this is a local meal. Yeah, so it is our responsibility as custodians, as the guys who commercialized tourism, to start having these conversations from the very end of these communities. Because I know last year there's a project we were engaged in with conservancies, and it was a marketing project, yeah, with Kenya Conservancies Association. And in designing the marketing strategy, we had to relook and revise the products that we are offering in the conservancies that are community-based. Yeah, going back to, for example, the example I gave, me visiting one of the Kenyan beach hotels, and during entertainment, I get Maasai dancers dancing for me. As a Kenyan, I will say that's not the authentic culture for that region. But there are other dances within that region that could represent the coastal area. Yeah. So in the first place, as the person commercializing the tourism product, the hotel, the person curating the experiences of guests coming there should be tasked with ensuring we are now formulating, you know, dances that represent the local culture there. There is nothing wrong with promoting the Maasai culture, but it is important to be inclusive where we are talking about inclusivity. So that that person now is responsible. Yeah. Under ecotourism, eco-rating. This is something we talk about. How do communities play around before you get that eco-rating? For tour operators under Travel Life, we talk about it. Where does the community aspect come into play? Because we are the ones who moved as tour operators to push for these products. But now once we say, you know, we need to change, it's a systemic change. Yeah, it has to start from everywhere. And this, by the way, I like the question you're asking because it goes even for marketers. Remember what I was saying in the very beginning, if you were there, and I said for destination marketers, if you know one destination attracts more tourists than the rest, it is your responsibility as a tour operator to start giving prominence in your marketing for other regions, because what you do is you open up. Yeah. So then you reduce the numbers or the capacity that this ecosystem can hold into you know, spreading out the numbers. So you do what? You conserve this one. Yeah. So you're not just now marketing, you're also thinking of the impact. But in volume, if we had 100 tour operators do that in Africa, I think we would slowly start to see that systemic change. We'll start to see that authenticity coming, and we'll start to communicate what tangible revenue, even for the communities, by them valuing what they have. So what I feel we did, and I'll take part to it because I've been in tourism for long, is that we commodified tourism products, but didn't give much thought to authenticity. And then now, especially post-COVID, we realized, oops, this is a misstep and we need to rewrite it. But for us to rewrite it, it has to take each one of us to actually go in and say, you know, I want to promote this community-based tour operator, or, you know, the Cbte, the organization, or even enterprise, because of this uniqueness of here. Then even the community starts to see, okay, I have 10 commercial tour operators, big, small, medium, whatever, pushing for this product. Then they start to see the importance of it. And I want to imagine that can be multiplied. Yeah. But you have to sit somewhere and say, you know, we went wrong here. And I think that's where we did. But good point. Edwin, over to you.
Well, thank you for those clarification and answering those questions. I fear we might run short of time because we have another presentation, the second part of the presentation that is supposed to take place. So I saw Jonathan's hand was up. I will just request that Jonathan, you keep the question. Then at the end of the session, you can be able to ask the question and Angela will respond to it. So I want us to have a breather of 5 minutes and then we will get back and continue. So don't leave the meeting. Just remain silent.
People. Thanks, Edwin. Yeah, so sustainable tourism looks at culture, environment, and the people of that destination. And then responsible tourism is the concept of creating better places for people to live in and better places for people to visit. Now, the difference usually is that in responsible tourism, it's short-term change, yeah? But in sustainable tourism, it's long-term. So typically, sustainable tourism would focus on, say, the global issues, the bigger issues like climate change, which all of us are talking about, and it also attempts to change tourism as a whole. Yeah, you've heard me talking about holistic. Yeah, whereas in responsible tourism, it focuses more on the individual actions and individual destinations. So whereas this responsible is me taking responsibility, and sustainability is collective as a whole and encompasses all the three aspects. So that's the difference. So now when we start to talk about sustainable marketing, let me bring up the screen now. Just a second, share screen. There we go. So when we talk about sustainable marketing, yeah, we've looked at consumer behavior and how we will attract them, how we will communicate to them, how we will craft our messages. So sustainable marketing is the promotion of environmental and social responsible products, practices, and brand values. Yeah. So whatever product you're promoting, you should be considering the environment and its social responsibility. Yeah, so that is what we mean when we are now talking about sustainable tourism, sustainable marketing, sorry. So when we talk about sustainable marketing, then we are talking about a value-based approach. Okay, so a value-based approach will, number one, be consumer-oriented. Marketing meaning that the company views its marketing strategy from the point of the customer. Yeah, so your customer is at the heart of, remember what we were saying when we were looking at the old truth versus the new truth. So value-based approach will be consumer-oriented. Again, it will also have customer value. Yeah, so customer value marketing entails putting most efforts and resources into continuously improving the value added to the offering. Yeah, as the company creates value for the customer in turn creates value for the company. So if you give something of value, you'll also get what? That's what do we call it? You know what I mean, yeah? What Edwin say it. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So this goes even to the questions that we were discussing before. If you give value, your clients will see the importance of investing in you. And there are different ways they can invest in your product. They can invest in your product by giving a good word out there. They can invest in your product by giving referrals. They can invest by even, financially, or even with their time, invest to build the community. It could be even on social projects beyond your tourism product. Yeah. So now when you build that value, it goes both ways. Yeah, because somebody sees you. You know, they're seeing the product and then seeing you. This is what we aim to achieve. So you need to clearly define what is that you want to achieve when promoting this product. Yeah. I find it interesting when you talk about sustainability and people assume you're not going to talk about the economic part of it. But at the end of the day, most local communities will value the tourism product if they see there is a benefit to them as well. Yeah, so there is benefit of saving the wildlife, you know, consuming it, our natural areas, our forests. There's all that, but there's also value in investing in the community. So time, even just time, engaging with them, explaining to them how do you interact when guests come, you know. So if a customer gets the value, then they will also invest back in value. A value-based approach will consider the innovative marketing. The principle of innovative marketing ensures that an organization never stops finding better ways to develop products, services, and better ways to market. So it means you will be progressive. Yeah, a value-based approach should be progressive. If you see you stagnated in your sustainability effort, if you see you stagnated in your marketing and you're not progressive, yeah, often we tend to think progress can only be measured through money. For me, I've always said progress can be measured in different ways. Yeah, your brand face is one way to measure that value. Yeah, brand appearance, brand performance. Yeah, that is something you need to consider that needs to be progressive. Yeah, people need to see what you are doing now will continue. Yeah, again, a value-based approach will have a sense of mission. It's a sense of through a sense of mission marketing, where the principal guides affirm to define a broad mission that speaks to society rather than just the product. Mike Nzuki is on call, and sorry, Mike, I have to use you as an example, but I know that when we purchase his product, there is the greater impact to the community. Yeah, we are talking about recycling, we are talking about minimal waste to landfill, yeah, because we are finding ways to recycle those tires. We are not just burning them, yeah. So he makes slippers. So you see, there's a mission beyond. So when you're marketing, yeah, it's that principle will guide the broader mission, and through the value-based approach, the principle of society marketing is important, and this is where the company balances decisions based on customer wants, company requirements, and the customer and society's long-term interests. The customer may want to move very close to the lion, so you drive off-road, but the impact will be wanting. The customer may want to take pictures maybe of your poverty, but what about the impact of those children being photographed as a sign of poverty? So there are sensitive issues, especially when we talk about, you know, that societal frame. And I always feel for Cbte or Cbtes, you really need to have defined what it is we do and what we don't want. What is it we want and what we don't want, especially when you now have consumer engagement directly linked to the community. Because then now you know what is expected and what is not. So quickly, let's look at effective strategies for marketing the Cbte or the Cbtes. Number one, authentic storytelling. Highlight the unique stories of the community, its people, culture, and traditions. Emphasize on how tourism activities contribute to the welfare and development of the local community. Using engaging content like videos, blogs, and social media to post or share these stories. You know what I like about the conversations that we're having today is that when you talk about authenticity, you realize we failed. In fact, the gentleman who asked that question on the aspect of authenticity, I actually want to say thank you, because you also made me go into a greater reflection, which I've been doing for the last couple of months now. For the Kenyan colleagues, we're all familiar with the new curriculum that our schools are going through, the Cbte curriculum. And I've always joked that the one thing I really, really like about it is that there is so much emphasis on culture, yeah, that my children are now pushing us to ask, what is our local food? Pasta is not our local food. What is our local food? You know, they may not like it, they may like it, but because it's in their curriculum, then, you know, it's arousing that for them to ask, because we've also been globalized, you know. We are modern, we live in the city, the school in city schools. So I find we have to build that culture of the younger generation wanting to know where they came from. We've had this from UNWTO. We've had this from all these guys saying, if we're going to revamp tourism, if we're going to make it a dynamic sector like we used to, this is the time. That is what people are looking at, you know. When I exited operations, we used to say, you know, guests no longer want to sit in a vehicle and be told that's a lion, that's a what, they want immersive experiences. They want to feel that experience. Yeah. So one way of engaging with them is through authentic storytelling. You know, get someone to tell the story, post it on your channels. Yeah. As opposed to just having the package we offer or the offers and. You can have that. But again, authentic storytelling is very important. Another effective strategy for marketing is local partnerships. Collaborate with local businesses, artisans, and service providers to create tourism packages that showcase the best of community. CBTOs, and this is a plea to you. If you sit and wait for the tour operators to come and sell you, I've been a tour operator, it's usually very hard because they also want to make quick sales, which is not a bad thing. Everyone is here for business, right? However, it is your responsibility to push and say, I have this product. I can do this. I can move this there. Yeah. Again, in terms of sustainable practices, this should also be an effective strategy for marketing. It is emphasize the community's commitment to sustainability and responsible tourism. Show how the activities have low impact on the environment and promote eco-friendly practices. This appeals to travelers who are increasingly conscious about the environment, the environmental footprint. Yeah, everyone's talking about climate change because it is very serious, and travelers want to know that they're not damaging the environment, and you know, they want to feel they're actively promoting positivity. Yeah. Again, targeted digital marketing. Identify your target audience and use digital marketing techniques to reach them effectively. Utilize social media platforms, search engine optimization, online advertising to promote your unique selling points of your community-based tourism products. And you can see we're still going back to the point Edwin was highlighting before we went to the break, on you identifying what makes you different. Yeah, because this uniqueness, you can now use it on digital marketing. Yeah. Again, another effective strategy is you need to engage with travel bloggers and influencers. Let them experience your community. Let people come and see how you make your local food, how you make those beads. Because once people see it being done, then they are more interested. Yeah, encourage them to share their experiences on their blogs and social media, as this can significantly increase visibility and credibility. Again, community involvement. You're a CBTO, but we never see the community. We need to involve local communities in marketing efforts, encourage them to share their experiences and testimonials. User-generated content can be very influential in attracting potential tourists. Yeah, and I say this because I've visited a couple of community conservancies, community lodges, but I never see the local community. I'm only told, yeah, our staff are from the local community. Or I'll be offered to go to the usual Maasai village, especially if it's in the safari areas, and I'm told that's the community, you know. But I want to imagine there is more than that. Again, our innovationness, there's got to be more than that. Again, community events, festivals can be a strategy. Organize events and festivals that showcase the culture, traditions, and local products of the community. Such events can attract domestic and international tourists and offer opportunities for exposure in local and international media. You know, having those community events or even packaging them together with the product, especially for the guys who have the lodges or the, you know, the community, the eco lodges, yeah? So think of ways you can incorporate maybe a local event into the package so that it becomes an experience. Okay. The next strategy is online reviews and ratings. Encourage visitors to leave positive reviews and ratings on platforms like TripAdvisor, Google, etc. Positive reviews can significantly impact the decision-making process of potential travelers. Okay. How often do we request for feedback? We need to ask our guests to give us feedback. Again, cultural exchange programs, partner with educational institutions and organizations to create cultural exchange programs. Edwin, just a minute. I see my internet is fluctuating. I just want to switch something.
It's okay, it's okay.
Just a minute, I bring back the screen. Edwin, can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes,
We
it
can
is
see
one.
it.
Fantastic, thanks. So as I was saying, partner with educational institutions or organizations to create cultural exchange programs. This way, the communities can learn, yeah? These programs can attract also students, researchers, cultural enthusiasts who are interested in immersive experiences with local communities. I've always said, if I take, for example, Kenya, and we have all these different CBTOs and CBTs, why not find a way amongst ourselves to create exchange programs so that we learn best practice from each other? Yeah, because I feel that is one way we can build strong CBTOs. It is just finding an agreement within ourselves and saying, you know, say ecotourism, can we do this? Can we do that? through the different programs that you have with CBTOs. Yeah, and you can learn from each other. Another effective strategy is collaboration with travel agents and tour operators. Remember what I said? The big hotels will go to the tour operators and give them very good rates. A CBTO will not go to the tour operators, but will want to make revenue. One way is engaging with them, saying, this is what I have. When I stopped selling tours and started working more with communities and conservancies, I learned we have so many CBTOs in Kenya that I had never heard of. And here I was thinking, as a tour operator, I knew a lot. So you realize there is so much, even when we talk about diversifying our tourism products. The tour operators have no idea that these CBTOs exist and they can actually be an opportunity for them to diversify on their product portfolio. So CBTOs on call, make yourselves known, yeah? Go out there and be known. Again, leverage on local media, reach out to local newspapers, magazines, stations to feature stories about your community-based tourism initiatives. Create a buzz, basically, yeah? And generate interest among nearby travelers. Again, also offer special promotions and packages, which we say they don't have to be limited to, you know, always that is what you offer. Yeah, it can be an addition, and do promotions, discussion, special packages, invite people to the events we are talking about. And that is also a strategy, an effective strategy. So we've spoken about strategies, and we've introduced this term of value products, you know, products with importance. What are the benefits of selling value-based products? Yeah. So number one is that you'll be using resources responsibly, thus future-proofing your product, reducing overconsumption of waste, maintaining biodiversity. We know these things, yeah, when we talk about sustainability, supporting local economies, involving local communities, that's a stronger buy-in, yeah. But there are also challenges. Yeah, I remember when I was talking about greenwashing and local washing earlier. Yeah, there's also the belief that sustainability is only for the high-end markets. People assume, you know, it's only for people who have a wide budget. Yeah, so there'll be challenges in this, but it's also how you develop creative and innovative ways to move beyond it for you to be able to share these products. So how then do we move ahead of the competition? And this is like the foundation, no, the package of this discussion today, of the many things that we've said. How do we move ahead? Number one is you need to identify your target audience. Remember, we spoke about consumers before, understanding them, demographics, preferences, so that you can tailor your marketing efforts to appeal to their specific interests and needs. You need to know, if I'm catering for families, what do they need? If I'm catering for couples, what do they need? If I'm catering for mature, older couples, what do they need versus younger generation couples? Yeah, so that when you're producing something, or even how you package, you're able to meet their interest and needs. Then unique selling proposition, highlight what makes your tourism product and services unique and better than your competitors. Whether it is personalized experiences, exceptional customer service, or exclusive offerings, communicate your USP clearly in your marketing materials. Let me be able to see your brand and I know, these are those guys who do this. This is what they offer. If I don't have that, when I look at your promotion or your posts on social media or a video, then you're still not communicating your USP. People need to be able to clearly see what makes you different. Again, online presence. Establish a strong online presence through a well-designed website, active social media accounts, and engaging content. I know often we hear, but putting up a website is expensive. I can tell you there are different platforms that have come in where I think CBTUs can pay less than, less than $50 or something like that. And that's less than 5,000 to do a website. And these ones are specifically tailored to community-based initiatives. We can share the contacts with Ecotourism and they can let us send them to you. Again, visual storytelling. Use captive visuals and videos to showcase the beauty and experiences of your destination and what it offers. Emphasize on emotions and memories that travelers can create by choosing your tourism product. People want to see, when I come there, what will I benefit? If I come there, what will I say I got? I learned this. People want to feel they have grown. So your product needs to be able to show them they have positively grown. Even if I am engaging in a leisure activity, I still want to feel that there was impact. So you can show that through visual storytelling. And then you need to encourage your customers to give reviews and testimonials. Positive reviews and testimonials can significantly influence potential customers. Encourage satisfied customers to leave reviews and share their experiences on review on platforms and social media. Remember what I said, especially with social media. If you post once a month, and then I go to your page, I see the last post was done December 2022, wishing us a happy new year, 31st. I'll be like, oh, this one didn't make it over to the new year. They haven't shared anything in the last 6 months. So this business maybe went under. So being not found, no consistency in your posting also communicates to a potential client. So you need to make sure you have a plan on how you're communicating, especially on social media. Content marketing. Create valuable and informative content related to your destination or tourism activities. This can include blog posts, travel guides, videos that showcase the best aspect of your offering. Content marketing is so important. It is vital. A couple of years ago, I would even say 10 years ago, we were only talking about putting up posts on Facebook or doing a blog once a month or trying to, put up a blog. But now content marketing is a career building platform. We've seen people have careers out of content marketing, content creation, that is, So you need to be able to create valuable and informative content related to your destination and tourism activities. Again, how do you stay ahead of the competition? Social proof and user-generated content is very important to hear from customers. We don't want to just read a line, this was the best trip ever on your website, and we don't know if those people really exist. There could be people you have formulated in your head and you've written there on the website, they gave feedback. Social proof is very important. I want to see somebody actually posted and tagged you, Today, I believe we posted, our comms posted this event because it is real, it is happening. But if Ecotourism would have just written, Angela did the training, yeah, right, but we didn't see it. So social proof is very important. I always go to those websites where you have customer review and then you have clients who give customer reviews 5, 6, 10 years ago. They've never been updated, they never change. And I'm like, okay, so in between what happened? So again, social proof is very important. Yeah. Again, email marketing, build an email list and send personalized newsletters with exclusive offers, travel tips and updates. You need to have consistency on how you build your marketing emails. Yeah, email marketing, excuse me, can be effective to nurture leads and keep past customers engaged. Yeah. Remember, they may not be buying now, but they can refer people or they can come back later. So that's one way to keep them engaged. Again, how to still stay ahead of the competition is through collaborations and partnerships. Team up with local businesses, like we said before. Collaborations can broaden your network and provide mutual benefits. You know, one thing I always used to underestimate until I became a business owner was when you're involved, you're invited to a function and they have put in the agenda networking session. Most of us just take it for granted. But I realize networking is so important for your business because this is where you get linkages to grow. Yeah. So take advantage of networking. Team up with local businesses, the tour operator. Make yourself visible in these events. Yeah. Be seen. If you're not being seen, you won't even be, and not being heard, people will not remember you. Yeah. So you need to broaden your network and take advantage of those networking sessions that you hear. Again, special offers and promotions. You want to create promotions that are, time sensitive, create a sense of urgency when you say our produce, our community built bracelets have sold out. People want something that is out of access. When you hear something is selling out, we all rush to buy it. Pun intended. Think of how Europe, when COVID came, there were no tissues. I remember when our former president announced that, we were going to have a lockdown. And I walked into my normal chemist. And I tell you guys, even to get just antihistamine that was a problem because the shop was so busy. Everybody demanding, they want 10 packets of paracetamol. They want, you want to keep stock because we didn't know what would happen. Masks. Think of the rush of buying face masks. When people hear something is almost to deplete, then there is a sense of urgency. If you portray your destination as, somewhere people are wanting to buy, your lodge, this community lodge where people go and they're treated so well and it's always busy, then you create that interest. People start to think, people going there, why is it always full? How come we are not selling it? Even the tour operators start to want to sell it. But if you're busy, saying how you never, you always empty, you don't have people are not coming, then people just think maybe they're not that good. Optimize your online presence. We had discussed that, especially for local search. Yeah, so if people are trying to find you, are you powered on Google Maps? Are you on Google My Business, directories? It's because if people are doing maybe self-drive to your community lodge, if it's a lodge, yeah, or even if it is a business, maybe it is a shop that you sell curios. If you cannot be found, how will they know where you are? Yeah. Then you also need to stay updated with the trends. Keep an eye on industry trends and changes in customer behavior. Adapt your marketing strategies accordingly to stay relevant and innovative. And you can see innovation keeps coming back. Again, how do you stay ahead of the competition? Sustainable and responsible tourism. Highlight your commitment to sustainable and responsible tourism practices. Be aware that the consumers now do their checks. So you cannot greenwash or local wash. We will call you out. And when you're called out for greenwashing or local washing on social media, it can be very nasty. Yeah? So more travelers are seeking eco-friendly and socially responsible options. So emphasizing your efforts in this area can give you a competitive advantage. Again, still going back to that thing that makes you different. Give exceptional customer service, provide exceptional customer service from the moment of your inquiry to the travel experience. You want to ensure that the whole process, remember that process we were looking at earlier on for the customer journey, that it is positive. Yeah, positive word of mouth and repeat customers are valuable assets for your business. I tell you, because networking, building a relationship with people will grow your business significantly. I started by telling you guys, Tieranjanni Africa is hardly 4 years. Will be 4 years in December this year. And in those few years, 3 years, we have had over different projects in over 10 African countries. But it's all word of mouth, references, creating a relationship with people, being available for people, yeah, being seen, being visible, yeah. Once you do that, that word of mouth and that repeat customer, they are valuable assets to your business, because those people will do marketing for you for free. They're the ones who will go and say, oh, we've tried and tested. Their product is good. We've tried and tested. The service at that lodge is exceptional. We've tried and tested. And we know that you will get value for your money. If you're looking to relax, this place is the best. If you're looking for a massive experience, they're the ones who will give those recommendations. And you see it. You see them sharing even on socials. Again, going back to that, social proof. So exceptional customer service is very important, yeah, because you want people to give that word of mouth. Again, you need to monitor and analyze your results. Everything you do, if it is a poster, not a poster, a post that you've placed on, say, Facebook, did you go back and see how it performed against the previous post? Did you check how it performed against a different, maybe product? If you sell, if you're an enterprise and maybe you sell honey, community honey, and then you also sell maybe beadwork, yeah? See, how did it engage? Maybe people liked the beads more than the honey. So does it mean you should promote more of your beadwork to earn more revenue for your community? So you need to be able to monitor and analyze. Use analytics tools to track the performance of your marketing efforts, analyze the data to understand what works best, and make data-driven decisions for continuous improvement. And I've seen this with very many companies, not making data-driven decisions. Yeah, you're swayed by different decisions, and then you make a decision, and then bam, you've lost your brand, you've lost the face of your marketing. Yeah. So you need to have concrete reasons as to why you're doing something. And that is one way, because when you monitor and you measure, then you're able to analyze and see, this is what we should do, this is how we should move forward. And then this also informs you on what you will push forward in terms of marketing. Yeah. So monitoring and analyzing your results is very, very important. So Edwin, I've really tried to rush through what we can stay ahead of, what we can do to stay ahead of the competition. And with that, we stop for the second half. So I can bring in Edwin and we can do a Q&A. I think my voice is also struggling.
Thank you. Just go to the questions because of time. So if any person has a question, feel free to ask or to raise your hand, and then you can be given an opportunity to ask. You can also share your experiences in terms of marketing, as well as comments within the chat or by raising your hand. There is a question, I think this is directed to us, which is being asked by Evan Demi, and she's saying, hi, can we kindly get the soft copies of the presentation done for easier referencing? Yes, you will be able to get the presentation for easier referencing, but we will upload the recording for today's session on our YouTube channel. So you can go to our YouTube channel at the end of this week, and then you will be able to get all the videos on the presentations that were offered throughout the training. So I hope that is something that has answered your question. Do we have any other question, a comment? Angela, there is a question here, I think for you, still by Eva, and she's asking, how can county government implement the value-based approach in the community-based tourism sector? So you can answer that.
All right. As we wait for other questions, so let me quickly respond to Eva. I think, Eva, thank you for bringing that up. I think for county governments, number one is to map out the different community projects that are around, and then create, I don't want to use the word committees, but I'll say almost like a circle, social circles where you engage with the communities so that there's no replication, so that every different community within the county is also developing their unique product. And I'll give you an example of a project that we are currently undertaking in Sierra Leone. And they're building infrastructure, but it is meant for community development. And the project is a tourism project. Yeah. So the national government, because there they don't have the county government, the national government has engaged tires from the different communities, depending on which project is being developed. And then within there, they're given the space to say, this is what we currently have. This is what we think we could do. And if we incorporate the development that you're doing as national government, this is how we see it coming up. And you actually create a plan on developing the project. Yeah. So I find in terms of value, the value-based approach for county governments, number one is that it's mapping. Number two is engaging the communities, because you know how we work. Every community can pick, a representative or a leader, so that you map out and see, is it a valuable product that can be pushed to tourism? Sometimes it's not even a tourism product, but it can be used in other trade services, but you will still be developing the community. So I find the key thing here is just building that relationship with local communities and then seeking innovative ways into promoting development through sustainable tourism, or any other sustainable field. Edwin, over to you.
Thank you. There are also two questions, one from Ebenezer Baraka and another one from Mike Zuki. So Ebenezer is asking, I kindly wish to know for how long does it take to take a view, a follow, or a like to transform a cell when you have been consistent from social media? Or maybe I think he meant or she meant posting on social media.
All right, so let me take that one before we move to Mike's question. Conversion. Conversion is dependent on providing the right product at the right time. Remember what I said about the marketing mix, the 4Ps? It is product, place, promotion, and price. Yeah. So the same applies on social media. You could be posting and people liking, but it is the wrong target audience. So number one, we go back again into understanding your consumer. All right. So that you can formulate the right promotion and then place it in the right place. The right place, depending on who your consumer is, could either be on Facebook, it could be on Instagram, it could be on WhatsApp. I've seen people develop WhatsApp catalogs. Yeah. So I think you first need to identify who your consumer is so that when you post, you're reaching, your target audience is reaching the correct people. Yeah. And I feel this is where we go wrong with social media. You think because people liked your page or they liked your post, then they will buy. They may like, but they never buy. But if you're appealing to maybe somebody who usually travels to community-based conservancies, then what happens? When they see your post, they'll have interest. So it means we have to do our homework in understanding who our consumer is. Edwin, over to you.
Thank you. There is another question from Mike Zuki, and I will need Mike to just switch on the mic so that he can be able to ask, because I seem not to be getting it. He's saying, how can you secure your new, this word is kind of confusing. So Mike, kindly unmute yourself and ask the question directly. Mike, are you there? Go ahead, Mike. I think he has unmuted himself, but we seem not to be hearing what he's saying. Is there any other question as we wait for Mike? Or maybe, Mike, you can type the word. It is DESI2. I haven't really gotten what it means. So well, if there is no any other question, then we can proceed to end the meeting. Mike, can you unmute yourself? Yes, I think now Mike has typed the correct word. How can you secure your new How can you secure your copyright? I think that is the question.
I think that's the question, but
Yes.
I think there are copyright laws that guide us on even how to package your product, going beyond KEBS, and there are laws to copyright. I'm not an expert in copyright law, but I can share with you information or even contacts of people who deal with copywriting and Edwin, what's the other word beyond copyright? The one where you patent to make it yours.
Patent.
Yes. So I think, Mike, we can share that with you and through ecotourism. But I do know there's a system on how it is done through Kenya, and it is documented by law.
Yeah, you're correct. Is there any other question? We don't want to lock anyone out. I hope you have enjoyed the training. If you have enjoyed the training, kindly just press a like within the comment. And we will be very happy to see them. I can see Susan, that is nice. Yeah, Jonathan has enjoyed the training. We have quite a number of people who have enjoyed the training. They have confirmed that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Angela, I hope you can see that. So at Ecotourism Kenya, we always like photos. I would ask everybody to put their cameras on so that at least we take a photo, and then we can now end the meeting and then wait for tomorrow. So kindly turn your cameras on. It will also be a very great opportunity for us to see you. Happy to see people. Great. I can see Caroline, I can see Joan, I can see Anne, Sheila, Joy there, Mary, Agnes. We still need more. Great to see you guys. Great. Nancy, we would love to see you. Great to see you as well. Dennis, Beneza Baraka, it will be great to see you. So that is nice. Joanne, it will be great to see you. You can make it. Great. Yes. Now we are going to party. Wherever you are. Thank you. You guys are not smiling. I want you to smile. Great. Thank you so much. You can now switch it off. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's always great having you join the meeting, and I hope you found the training for today so valuable. Angela, do you have any final comment?
It's just to say thank you for organizing such a beautiful week. I hope all the participants do get as much as information as possibly needed. For us to transform tourism in Africa, we need everyone going beyond, Tieranjanni and ecotourism. And we need to believe in a cause, because we can actually be the change makers. We are the change makers. So it's a call for everyone to, be responsible, take the charge, and congratulations for coming to the call. Well done. And a big thank you to EK. You're doing a fabulous job. Over to you, Edwin.
Thank you so much, Angela, as well. And we have enjoyed the session. and we are sure that even the participants have gained something from today's session. I want us now to end the meeting, but before we do so, I want to remind you that tomorrow we will still have a training session, and even on Thursday as well as Friday. So be sure to join in at 10 to 12 for the rest of the days. And then always feel free to ask questions, to interact. It's an interactive session, so don't feel afraid to ask any question. Angela has shared her contacts on the chat, so you can also have a look at that. You can get in touch with her via email or through that phone number that she has shared. So I want you to have a look at it. You can note it down before we end the meeting. So thank you so much for joining, and we look forward to having you again tomorrow and Thursday as well as Friday. And all the very best in your marketing, and we hope things will be okay, especially now that you have gained some insights from Angela. Barikiwe sana na mshinde vizuri. Okay, bye bye.